Hey, what's up everyone? My name's Josh Winiarski, and I'm a photographer and filmmaker here on YouTube as well as Instagram, and today it's a questions and answers video. Also, I'm on top of a parking garage. I mean, the sunrise was kind of pitiful up here, and it's windy and it's cold, but when there's no one else in a parking garage, it's so cool. Like, there's just so many crazy angles, things to shoot through. But enough said, let's read some of your guys' questions, and I'll try my best to answer them. As usual, my answers aren't necessarily 100% correct. I'm just a guy who gets up early, goes on top of parking garages all alone, spends a lot of his free time talking to a camera, but I do have a decent amount of experience with photo and video, so hopefully I can help you out. Oh, that's kind of far away. Much better. All right, so let's start going through these. I'm probably not gonna get through all of them. It'd make for like a 20-25 minute video. No one really wants to watch that, but I'm gonna pick my favorites and we'll just go from there. If you do have a question that you really want answered, you can always DM me on Instagram or drop a comment down below, or just send it again for the next Q&A, but this is it's just the way the cookie crumbles. All right, first question. Can you do daily photo vlogs? Can I? Yes. Will I? No time soon. For those of you that don't know, I'm a full-time college student. I literally got up at 6:30 or something in the morning. Actually a little earlier. I think it was like 6:10 is like when I set my alarm, and I got up on like the third one at 6:15. My point being, I'm trying to make a whole video right now before I even go to class in the morning, which is super difficult. Although I guess the fact that I'm doing it means potentially I could do daily vlogs if I just got up really early and did them before class every day. But the reason being, I'm taking freelance photography jobs, I'm doing a lot of other projects not on YouTube in terms of video, and I'm trying to get good grades in school. If I did daily photo vlogs, that would just kind of get in the way of everything. It might be really fun. If I had nothing else going on in my life, I would love to try that for a while. Daily vlogging is like the pinnacle of being a YouTuber. It's like if you've daily vlogged for any amount of time, it's like super cool, super badass, but it just wouldn't make sense for me to do that right now, as fun as it would be. I will say though, if, and this is a huge if, I ever go full-time on YouTube, yeah, I might do that for a little while. Right now, it just doesn't make sense. Should I upgrade from APS-C to a full frame or not, and why? It really depends what you're doing. If you're more in like the amateur intermediate range, you probably don't need a full frame camera. Full frame is better in a lot of ways, but it might not be the best camera for you. So the biggest advantages to a full frame camera is you can shoot wider because you have a bigger sensor, you can get a shallower depth of field, you have better low light, a lot of things like that. But the biggest con is that as soon as you go from APS-C to full frame, all of your lenses shoot up in price. So if you shoot on something, let's just say a Canon 80D, you can get things like the 18-55 kit lens, $100. You can get things like the 55 to 250 millimeter telephoto lens for like $200. I got a Sigma 17-50 f2.8 for like $200 used. That's a zoom lens at 2.8, which is almost the equivalent of the 24-70 2.8, which is a full frame lens. And I paid like $200 for the crop sensor version, and that full frame version is closer to like $1,600 new. So, maybe you could get it for $1,200 or $1,300, but everything goes way up in price. On top of that, your lenses, your cameras, they're gonna be bigger, they're gonna be heavier. Personally, I wouldn't want to vlog on anything bigger or heavier than the Canon 80D. So if the camera body gets heavier, the lenses get heavier. It's kind of a pain in the butt. But if you do a lot of low light shooting, or you're taking photography pretty seriously, trying to make a living out of it, full frame's probably the way to go. What is the meaning of Kraft, Macaroni, and cheese? It's the ultimate 8-year-old dinner food. Like if your kid wants dinner and they're super picky, you just make Kraft macaroni and cheese. Or if you're me and you don't want to cook, you just make Kraft macaroni and cheese. Ooh, I like this one. What do you hope to do during the next 45 days? It's kind of fun asking for a 45-day plan. Isn't that something like when you run for president of the United States? It's like, what is your 2-year plan? Or we've got this 4-year plan, or for a business or something. What is my 45-day plan? So I have a lot of things in the works. Right now, if you haven't noticed, I'm trying to do 1 YouTube video a week. It's nothing crazy, but just with my current schedule, it's enough that keeps me very busy. I normally finish these at 2:30 a.m. the day before they're up. So I'm trying to do one video a week. I want to keep that up for the next 45 days. On top of that, I'm working on a short film. We have done 2 of our 3 shoot days. I want to finish that up, and then I'm in charge of color grading that, so I'm going to do that. Today, I have to finish color grading another short film for someone, so I have to do that. I've also got some school projects I'm trying to get done. What else? And pretty soon, I'm going to try and start a documentary. This is more just like a personal project. What's cool about that is a lot of the stuff I do off of YouTube, I can't put on my YouTube channel. This is my documentary, and if it gets done, it's still kind of like on the fence of whether I'm gonna commit a bunch of time to it. I have to plan out some things beforehand, but if it gets done, I would like to have that on my channel in 45 days. It would probably be the most ambitious, biggest kind of personal project I've ever worked on. It might get done in 45 days. It might not even be started in 45 days, but that's something I'm definitely trying to do. But on top of that, just take a lot of pictures. I want to do some more hiking. I haven't really done much this past 2 months or whatever. But yeah, I'm pretty much just trying to make as many things as possible. How would you recommend a beginner videographer get into the field? That's a really good question, and I'm not sure there's like a set in stone answer, but I'll kind of give you my take. So let's say you're under the age of 18, you're probably in high school, maybe even middle school. If you're a beginner videographer, the best thing you can do is go make things. It doesn't really matter what. If you're in high school and you have like a video production class, I'd get involved with that. If you're in high school and you don't, find like clubs or just ask teachers. Just find ways to make as many different things as you can. If you're out of high school or you're just not in high school for whatever reason, again, you really need to like push yourself to find things to make. Whether that's short films, little skits, just talking head YouTube videos, you can make fake ads, you could record, I don't know, a soccer game, a football game, like whatever it is you want to make, you really just need to make things. So one, the more things you make, the better you're going to get. That's just how it works. You start to realize why some of your shots look terrible. You start to realize which few of your shots will look good. And all of a sudden, the balance starts shifting and you have more good shots than bad shots. On top of that, you're going to realize things like, oh, this was overexposed. Oh, this was out of focus. How can I do this differently? You're just going to learn so much the more you make. So just make. On top of that, if you're trying to get jobs, you're going to try to apply to do things, you need a portfolio. That is so big. No one wants to hire someone, especially pay someone, if you have no evidence of anything you can do for them. So the more things you make, the better your portfolio, the better your odds of getting other jobs. So just make as many things as possible. There's this old study, and I think it was done at Stanford, and there's 2 groups of students. One group is told they have a quarter to make the best pots possible. The other group is told they have the entire quarter, or maybe it was a semester, to make as many pots as possible. And every quarter, every study, the group that makes the most pots possible also makes the best pots possible, because they're just making so many pots. If they make a mistake, they just learn from it, move on to the next one. And every time, while the other group's trying to make the perfect pot, the group that's just making makes better pots. So we're not making pot here, but make. Oh, but if you're older, whether you're in college or an adult, just reach out to communities, churches, groups, high schools. Just try and find as many opportunities as you can. How did you decide where to go? Go where? I mean, does that mean college? Does that mean city? Does that mean career path-wise? In a grand scheme of things, I have no idea of where I'm going, but I don't know, I just figure if I keep finding things I like, things I don't like, eventually I'll get to where I'm supposed to be. So that's how I'm deciding where to go. Ooh, this one's interesting. If my tablet or laptop can't handle raw photos, should I save money to get a new laptop or continue? So I think it depends what you mean by can't handle raw photos. Like if your laptop or tablet crashes when you upload raw photos, that is not a good thing for a photographer in 2020. Editing photos is a huge part of photography. You need to be able to do that. But if it can kind of do it, like if it's just really slow and takes a while, maybe you just stick with that and make it work. But I think if you're gonna be doing this, like having a decently fast workflow is important. So you don't have to get like some super expensive $2,000 computer, but I mean, if your laptop's like around $200 or $300, it's really gonna struggle to edit photos, and especially if you get into video. There's a plane. So maybe consider saving up for a more mid-grade, $600 to $1,000 laptop, just to make your life easier. It's gonna make it more fun. It's honestly gonna help you have better photos if you can just edit faster. So I would say it is a worthwhile investment. Here's a random one. Do you play any instruments? What I find funny about that question is it seems like there's a lot of people that are photographers, videographers, and a lot of them do have a musical background. I, on the other hand, played drums all throughout middle school, and that was kind of like the extent of my musical knowledge. And while I think I'm okay at like drum set, I can go like and then have the bass pedal going and like, I honestly wouldn't say I'm like musically inclined. What is interesting is I did a lot of skateboarding and longboarding growing up, and that's another thing you see like a lot of people on YouTube that are like in this creative space did, so kind of gives me hope for myself. 2 questions. Next camera, are you hoping your photography, oh sorry, I can't read this. 2 questions. First, next camera. Second, are you hoping your photography actually becomes a full-time job? Next camera, as of now, will probably be a full-frame mirrorless camera. Again, if I had to pick one right now, it'd be the EOS R, but I'm not gonna upgrade anytime super soon, so if there's something else out, I might go with that, but that's kind of the camera I have my eye on. Am I hoping photography becomes my full-time job? That's an interesting question. Kind of no. So while I make a ton of photography videos, and I absolutely love photography, I think I'd personally rather do video as a full-time job, which is kind of what I love about YouTube right now. Is they're both very close in like how much I enjoy them. So by making videos about photography, I get to do both, which is super cool. But at this moment in time, I would prioritize video. But if I got a job as a photographer, like I definitely wouldn't turn that down, and I'd be very, very fulfilled with my life. But I think I would rather pick video. I'm kind of going more for video right now. Might surprise some of you. How do you like the burp flavored water you call LaCroix? Oh, this guy's got my back. What lens would you use on a crop sensor camera such as the T7i as an all-arounder lens? So I shoot on a Canon 80D, not to flex, but it's just like a similar camera to the T7i, just a little bit better. And my favorite lens right now is the Sigma 17-50. It's got that same great focal range of the kit lens, but it has a constant f2.8 aperture, and it has image stabilization as well. It's just a really, really good, versatile, all-around lens. Yeah, this one right here, look at that big piece of glass. It's around $300 new, which is pretty spendy. I got mine used for closer to $200, but this lens is just so good for pretty much everything. The only con is that the autofocus motor is a little loud for run and gun on-camera audio video, but for photography, oops, my camera stopped recording. But for photography, the lens is so good. It can do portraits, it can do landscapes, it's awesome. What would you say is the best way to get followers and build an engaging community on Instagram or any other social media for beginning photographers? Building a following on any platform is so difficult. I tell people this a lot. After my first year on YouTube, I had like 50 videos uploaded and 82 subscribers, which is like nothing super impressive. I feel like a lot of you could make an account today and post on Facebook, Instagram, like just put ads around your high school and get 82 subscribers in a day. But like, I'm not an expert in building like a community fast, so I might not be the best person to ask. Now I do have a bit of a following, a bit of a community. People engage, people are interested enough to ask me questions for videos like this, which is super cool. But I would say give people a reason to follow you. Provide value for them. There's so many stunning photographers that are better than me, better than you, better than like so many other people. Instagram is just flooded with the most gorgeous images you could ever imagine. So what are you doing that's different? What kind of value can you provide? So I like to think with my videos, while I'm not the best photographer or the best videographer, I try to make them more fun, more interesting, more entertaining. That's the value I kind of provide. That's why I believe people like my channel, they like my personality, the way I talk, the way I move my hands around, just the weird little quirks that I do. I think while I still try to teach people things, I do it in a more fun, lighthearted way than maybe like an experienced 50 or 60-year-old photographer. So what's your value gonna be? You know, if you can't outdo these people in terms of like raw, just photo taking ability, I mean, they might have 10 years of practice. There's no way you're gonna get there anytime soon. So you have to think, what can you do differently? What can you do to stand out? And then do that. On top of that, link your social medias, ask everyone you know to follow you. That's just a good way to go about doing things. Sweet, I think that's most of the questions. That truck back there, there's been a guy who just keeps getting out and staring at me while I'm talking and then going back in the truck. That was like so uncomfortable. Anyways, that's kind of it for me. Thanks so much to everyone who submitted questions. Hopefully that was fun. Hopefully I got to your question. And if not, I'll do another one of these in maybe a month or two. So not a big deal. But as always, if you like the video, be sure to like it. If you have any questions, have any comments, hit up that comment section down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks again for watching. My name is Winiarski. Check me out on Instagram, and I'll see you all in the next one.